Greetings, everyone. Please let me know you can hear me by typing a Y on the text chat. All right, amazing. So my headset just broke. Hopefully we can make it through the webinar. I'm glad you can hear me. How's everyone feeling this evening? All right, so welcome to How to Monetize Your Soul's Mission and Transition to the 5D Without Stress or Overwhelm. So here's what you're going to learn tonight. You're going to learn how this year, 2024, is the end of a 26,556 year time cycle and why certain earth changes are happening and will happen more and how these will affect you. So you'll learn how this affects your energetic anatomy and what you can do to prepare for this so you can exponentially evolve your consciousness and remain safe during this process, because there's going to be a lot of chaos going on the planet. You're also going to learn the details of both personal and planetary ascension and what will happen in the next couple of months, how to guarantee that you'll ascend in this lifetime and get out of incarnational cycles, and what is actually required for this on a quantum physics level. Also, during the entire webinar, the frequency of the information is so high, it will be like an energy healing or energy transmission. So it will awaken certain things in your DNA template, which are called apartheid, and you'll receive this frequency and probably feel this if you're energetically sensitive. Also, when you stay on the webinar to the end, you'll get an opportunity to have an in-person session with me where I'll help you specifically with your ascension process. So welcome everyone, and let's get started. So what is the big problem? The big problem is your energetic anatomy is not prepared to accrete the frequencies necessary to ascend from 3D to 5D, and you're not currently monetizing your soul's mission. So let me know if this sounds like you. Just type a Y in the text chat. Who here has recently had ascension related symptoms such as extreme tiredness? Just type a Y on the text chat. Or various aches and pains in your body, or headaches. I know some of you even have specific physical illnesses. I have a few clients that are working on healing even cancer. What about this? Who here feels uneasy and under pressure mentally and emotionally, and this is affecting your focus? Just type a Y in the text chat. How many of you have noticed that you've gotten triggered and you weren't aware that you still had these imprints or these buttons, and these things that are happening are triggering you? All right. So typically when we start raising our frequency, the people that are around you start falling out of your hologram and they just like disappear. How many of you have noticed that? All right, so what specifically is happening? Well, the earth has been in what is called a time continuum shift since 5/5/2000. So every 26,556 years this occurs. This is called a Uego cycle. And we're in the end of this Uego cycle right now. So what happens? Well, an ascension cycle, the stargates of the earth open up to receive higher dimensional frequency. So this allows the earth to rise in frequency. And since we live on the earth, all forms on earth, including humans, accrete this frequency if we're able to, and then we ascend with the earth. So this is the energetic dynamics by which forms and consciousness gradually evolve from one dimension to the next. So what is the definition of ascension? In this case, ascension to the 5D. Well, the process of dimensional ascension and biological and planetary evolution is the process of accretion or drawing of frequency bands into the morphogenetic field. Your morphogenetic field is like your form holding blueprint. It's like your auric field. So you can imagine all this light is coming into the earth, and then it's coming into the auric field of the earth, and then it's coming into the auric field of us as humans. And so if we have the correct codes and we're open and our chakra system is working properly and our DNA is working properly, we're able to naturally accrete this higher frequency, activate our DNA, and then ascend to the next dimension up. Does that make sense, everyone? So that's what's happening now. So as the planetary body, in this case Earth, or your body, evolves through this frequency accretion, the energetic capsules within your auric field gradually undergo a transformation process. And so this diagram here basically shows you the entire universal structure. So we have a 15-dimensional time matrix, and we have 5 different spiritual identities. So we start out here as an incarnate self in dimensions 1, 2, and 3. So you're born here, you start out with 3-dimensional consciousness. And then the way it's designed is you would accrete frequency as you evolve, like from age 12 to 22. And you would embody the frequencies of dimension 4, 5, and 6. So you would become an embodied soul at age 22. And then from 22 to 33, you would embody the frequencies of your oversoul. And then from 33 to 44, your avatar self. And then if you have more than a 12-strand DNA template, which I'll describe later, if you're an indigo, you can embody your Rishi self, which is stationed in dimensions 4, 5, and 6. And so as these frequencies come into the earth, like the Kirashe, the Kundare, all these frequencies come in, this is how you accrete this and then activate your DNA to be able to ascend up the dimensional scale. Simple, right? But this is the original design. What's happening right now is people are stuck here in the 3D, the very dense first 3 dimensions, which are associated with survival, sex, pain, suffering, victimization, poverty consciousness, lack, limitation, and then power and control issues. So that's what you see right here on planet Earth right now, which is like the shadow side of the masculine energy. That's what we're experiencing right now. But when we evolve into the 5D, for example, we activate chakras 4, 5, and 6, and we're here, we're operating from the heart chakra mainly, which is about unconditional love. That's the original intention of source. And so when we do that, all of these lower vibrating frequencies can't exist, and we are living from a different state of consciousness. You know, it's not like your physical body ascends to 5D, but your consciousness ascends to 5D. Does that make sense? All right, so that's what's happening now. Now, in order to understand this, you have to understand the big picture. So the big picture is not only do you have Earth stargates, you also have universal stargates. So this is a diagram of the universal stargates. And so you have 12 universal stargates, and you have, for example, you have Earth, Terra, Gaia, and Arimathena. These are the different versions of Earth. So Earth is a physical Earth. Terra is more of a less dense version of Earth, like carbon silica based Earth. Gaia is a etheric version of Earth, and Arimathena is like the Christos avatar version of Earth. So this is the Earth ascension process. This is how that happens. So you have all these frequencies coming into the universal stargates here from dimensions 1 until dimension 12. These are the different densities. But then you also have us here on Earth where you have 12 Earth stargates. So we need all of these stargates open to complete an ascension cycle, which is happening right now. And so you have the universal stargates over here, and then you also have the 12 locations of the Earth stargates. So these are the locations of the Earth stargates. So you have the South Pole, Stargate 1, Sarasota, Florida, Stargate 2, Bermuda Islands 3, Giza, Egypt 4, and many of you are aware that I lived in Cancun for 7 years. And the reason I lived in Cancun was to activate the Q site of Stargate 4, which is located in Aguascalientes, Mexico, right by Cancun. So just like you probably live next to one of these stargates or Q sites, and you're probably activating these things without your even awareness. If you have the awareness now, though, you can focus on wherever you are in activating the stargate in your area with your frequency, especially when you do these activations. So Stargate 5 is in Machu Picchu. 6 is Moscow, Russia. 7 is Lake Titicaca, Peru. 8 is Cheyenne, China. 9 is Tibet. 10 is Iran. And look at the Q site, Iraq. 11, Vale of Pusey. And 12 is in south of France. So you look at the Q sites, what happens is in the ascension cycle, the Q site has to be activated first, and then the Stargate can open. So these are the Q sites over here. So what's happening now is these Stargates are starting to open, and the higher dimensional 5D frequencies coming in. So basically, we have to prepare our energetic anatomy to be able to run that frequency. You know, it's kind of like an upgrade on your iPhone. You know, you don't want to be walking around with an iPhone 1 on a 3G network when everyone else is on an iPhone 15 on a 5G network. Does that make sense? Yeah, so the Q site is the activation site for the Stargate, the corresponding Stargate. And if you go right through the Earth, that's where you'll find the Q site from the Stargate, directly opposite. So these are like the universal chakras over here, and these are the Earth chakras over here. So what is ascension to the 5D? So here's how it works. Once the morphogenetic field, the auric field, has accreted most of the frequency bands from the first 3 dimensions, Then the energy capsules that correspond to those three lower dimensions begin to dissolve. When this happens, the particles contained within the dissolving auric capsules open up into the auric capsules of the next three higher dimensions. In this case, D4, D5, and D6. So this is how all forms and consciousness evolve from one harmonic universe to the next. It's a very ordered mathematical process. So your body and your consciousness are composed of energy particles. And when the planet approaches transition and transmutation of some of its particles, which is happening now, you will also undergo this particle transmutation. Now, just as only portions of the planet's particles will be able to transmute and ascend into the next dimension through what is called a morphogenetic wave, only portions of the human population will be able to transmute and ride with the planet on that wave of ascension. So what is required to ascend to the 5D? Well, people that have fully assembled and activated at least their fifth DNA strand and upgraded their chakras to 5D will be able to ride that wave of ascension back into Terra's energetic tapestry. So here's the planetary ascension diagram. You have harmonic universe 1, Earth, in dimensions 1, 2, and 3. So this corresponds with your incarnate self. You have a less dense version of Earth, Terra, stationed in dimensions 4, 5, and 6. This corresponds to your soul identity. And so basically this is what is happening. We're ascending to this version of Earth's consciousness. Then you have Gaia, the next step. So this is in dimensions 7, 8, and 9. Then you have Arimathena, which is stationed in dimensions 10, 11, and 12. So this is the planetary ascension cycle right here. Is everyone clear on that? So we're right now merging with Terra's energetic tapestry here. So this is how it's supposed to happen. Your personal morphogenetic field and consciousness will be carried within the planet's morphogenetic wave, which will merge with Terra's fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional particle and antiparticle structure. The matter particles of the portion of Earth and its people that were carried into the morphogenetic wave will then remanifest out of the morphogenetic field into the second harmonic universe, dimensions 4, 5, and 6. So these people will find themselves in a new time cycle upon a future version of Earth Terra, 5D consciousness, whereas the people who did not have the frequency to catch the morphogenetic wave will continue on their own first harmonic universe time cycle here in dimensions 1, 2, and 3 on a devolving version of Earth. So the ascension wave offers us, the souls of Earth, the opportunity to reach our next level of evolution. And this has been foretold in many ancient stories and prophecies. You know, all the spiritual traditions, even, you know, the Hopis have attempted to warn us and prepare us for this point in time. And now we're here. So this is it. Basically, there's an order, purpose, plan, and meaning for your personal evolution. And it's intimately related with the evolution of Earth. Now, Earth's ascension and merger with Terra will represent the coming fifth world of Native American legend. This is what the Hopis have been, the Hopi prophecy. I actually went and met with the head of the Hopi Indians, and he couldn't even speak English, but I drew it on the board and showed him, because you know, my thought is, don't say that the end of the world is coming. Say how we can evolve our consciousness, because you don't want that fear out there in a collective way. Does that make sense? So we did a manifestation back in 2006 for that. So let's summarize here. Ascension is the path of order through which consciousness evolves through a structured multidimensional system. So for those of you who are new, this is why you should listen to me about this. I've done over 9,000 live webinars on ascension and self-actualization since 1999. I created the term DNA activation in 1999 and was one of the first two people that started doing DNA activation sessions. During this process, I was contacted by Babaji Nagaraj, known as the Deathless Master, and who's in Autobiography of a Yogi, and I wrote 2 books with him. Now, during the 9,000 live webinars, I've had over 1.5 million people on these webinars, and specifically what I do are auric clearings, karmic sessions, unnatural J-seal removals, soul readings, even business readings for people to align their soul energies with their specific mission and help them to monetize their mission. So over the years, we've done a lot of different workshops around the world for ascension and activation. This is in Chichen Itza near Cancun. We did 2 of these, and this was the one in 2012, 12/12/2012. So 12/12/2012 was supposed to be the end of the ascension cycle, and it was supposed to be a solar flare that was released, but this was postponed. And so for the last 12 years, we've been preparing for this 5D upgrade. And it's taken a while because Earth is so dense, but we finally are able to do this. And you've probably seen a lot of people talking about this on the internet. But what I do is I find out what the problem is in the consciousness, the DNA, the chakra system, and then I create protocols for this to actually fix the problem. And so I create codes and protocols and commands to actually activate that frequency and not, just allow this to be a chance opportunity. I make sure it happens in one session. And so, over the years, I've worked with thousands of people, even in business masterminds, to help activate frequency and align people's soul energy with their mission. Now, this is a diagram of the DNA template. So most people have a 12-strand DNA template. If you have a 12-strand DNA template, then you have access to 12 dimensions of consciousness. And at the quantum level, you're an electromagnetic being. So you have electrical codes and you have magnetic codes. And so the idea is you activate all of these DNA strands so you can have 12-dimensional consciousness, which is the consciousness of an avatar, like a Jesus or Babaji. There's been very few avatars that have been here on Earth because the frequency of Earth could not hold more than one avatar at a time. It would literally shatter the scalar shields of Earth. But now we have more frequency available, and so we can activate more people to the 12-strand potential. So how does this awakening process work? Well, your ascension depends completely on your DNA. And so when a soul comes in here and then has the ability to remember who it was before, so it can remember what it came here to do, It requires the knowledge of the 15-dimensional anatomy and your DNA. So again, here is the diagram which shows the different levels of your consciousness. And so every single dimension has a color frequency band, like D1 is red, D2 is orange, D3 is yellow, etc. So these are different frequencies. So you come in as an incarnate identity in dimensions 1, 2, and 3, and then you evolve up the scale, all the way to your Rishi self here. This process was supposed to happen naturally. You shouldn't have to do all of these manual interventions of your chakra system and DNA. But the grids of the earth have been so fragmented by past interferences that we have to do this manually. And so the problem on the planet is when you incarnate here, due to the reversals occurring in the planetary grids, like a lot of the energy flowing through the grids is running in reverse. And so when you incarnate, when you're born here, the gene code shuts down. And so those levels of consciousness that are in the higher fields block out. The gene code blocks them out. And that's why you lose your memory and you don't even know why you're here or what you came here to do. I mean, how many of you have noticed that? Just type a Y on the text chat. So for those of you who have had spiritual awakenings, usually a person only starts awakening slightly at around the age of 33, as they're finally able to draw and hold more frequency. How many of you have noticed that that's when you started becoming more aware? Around the age of 33. Yes? Yeah, so a lot of yeses going down the screen. So if you don't know about ascension mechanics, so that when the gene code shuts down, you know how to fix this, then you'll stay stuck. And so that's what most people are experiencing right now. They're going to stay stuck and not ascend and basically stay lost if they can't awaken. Because what most people have right now are only 3 active strands, that's all. They have access to only 3 dimensions of consciousness because they have 3 strands active. So they're living from the first 3 chakras. And this only allows 3 dimensions of frequency, basically those scalar wave patterns that translate through the hologram into chemical manifestation. And so the big problem on the planet is the chakras and the DNA, your energetic circuitry, is not activated, so you cannot embody your potential. Here's what the angelic human DNA looks like. So there's basically 3 types of DNA on the planet. This is the original design, the 12-strand angelic human DNA, which allows for 12 dimensions of consciousness. Next, you have the indigo type 2 DNA. This is typically all of you that I attract because I'm indigo type 1 and I attract all the indigos. So if you have an indigo type 2 DNA, you have 24 strands available to you. And so it's kind of like this. I'm in a very high hotel right now, and I'm looking down on Las Vegas. So the big buildings that I see are like indigos. They're like indigo type 2s and even higher indigo type 1s. So the analogy here is that when we turn on all of our lights in our building, we light up the whole neighborhood. So indigos are here to activate themselves to become pillars of light around the planet, and then their light activates all the angelic humans. Does that make sense? So this is an indigo type 2, which most of you are, and then there's some indigo type 1s. There's only around 350 on the planet. Most of them don't even know that they're indigos because they don't have this information. So indigo type 1 has a 48 strand DNA template, and they have a specific planetary service contract to do this work. So again, the problem on the planet, the original angelic human DNA, humans are supposed to have 12 strands. So unless you know what you're supposed to have, you won't have the motivation to activate your DNA and reclaim your ascension codes. So basically, all your evolution is about DNA and DNA activation. And what we've been doing since 1999 is focusing on rebuilding our original angelic human DNA blueprint that was fractured at one point due to interferences here on the planet. So what happened on the planet? Well, some morphogenetic fields that had 12 primary fire letter sequences. So the fire letters are basically scalar wave programs that flash on and off like a candle staying in one place. So in between the 12 DNA strands, there's 12 fire letters. So you can imagine these as like fiber optic cables. And so some of these were completely pulled out of the DNA template. This is like going into your wiring cabinet of your house and just pulling out wires. A lot of the rooms in your house are not going to be able to be turned on. So what happened to humans is this threw off the whole calibration of how consciousness related to itself. It mutated the DNA, and this translates into perceptual distortions. People don't see reality as it is. So we have been living for over 200,000 years under perceptual distortions caused by DNA mutation. And we've been trying to evolve back into the 12-strand DNA pattern. And again, 12-strand implies 12 dimensions of consciousness, which is called an avatar. Everyone has access to this. So an avatar is capable of moving its vibrational rate wherever it wants to, appearing and disappearing at will, and manifesting in whatever dimension it chooses. This is described in Autobiography of a Yogi, and this is something that masters like Babaji can do. They can manifest in a specific location, demanifest their physical body with their intention, go into their Merkaba vehicle, and then remanifest in a different location. So they do this with their intention. So this is all built into your DNA template. We all have these abilities. We just require to activate them. So that was the original potential that we're focused on regenerating. Now, because of the reversals taking place in the planetary grids and the planetary Merkaba fields, which are currently 34 magnetic and 21 electrical, which is usually dense as far as magnetic particles go. What's happening is we have too many particles compared to not enough antiparticles. So the particles are the magnetic part and the antiparticles are electrical. We're supposed to be more electrical than magnetic, but that's opposite right now. So the matter here in the 3D is twice as dense as it's supposed to be. And you could just look around at how many obese, dense people there are. This is not just about what they're eating. And hold on a second. Can you still hear me? All right, headset just fell apart. The reason our bodies die is because it's death by densification. So it's blocking out all sorts of things that would happen in the DNA that would create new things in the chemical DNA called nucleotide-based chemicals. So right now we're basically running on a base 4 genetic alphabet. If you've ever studied DNA, you probably learned this in your high school biology class. But in DNA, there's something called nucleotide bases, and these form the little ladder rungs in the DNA. So if everything was working the way it was supposed to, we would actually not just have 4 chemicals forming those rungs, the ATCG, we would have 12 chemicals. That's how our DNA is supposed to be. So we're missing a lot. And this diagram here shows you have the double helix DNA at the chemical level. And you have a mother heli and a father heli. So when you're conceived, you receive all the issues from your mother in the mother heli and all the issues from your father in the father heli. And these become part of your DNA. So this is what you require to work on, to do the inner work, to clear those sequences that are not for your highest good, that your parents did not clear themselves. So this becomes part of your DNA, and around the age of 4, they start activating. But we can clear these energetically because they are just scalar wave programs. So in the DNA, you have 12 magnetic base codes and 12 electrical acceleration codes. This is from your mother, this is from your father. Now, our physical bodies should have a total of 36 full chromosomes. So 12 for strand 1 through 12, or 12 for strand 1, 12 for strand 2, 12 for strand 3, etc., for a total of 36 full chromosomes. What do we have now? How many chromosomes do we have now? 23. So we're missing 13 chromosomes. Does it make sense now why people use less than 10% of their brain? I mean, I was just going up the elevator and the people in the elevator couldn't even figure out how to use their room key. They were riding the elevator for like 10 minutes. This is the state of humanity right now. So this planetary distortion doesn't just affect us humans, it affects all species. So if you turn off most of your DNA and only leave on strands 1, 2, and 3, you're not going to have active in your template the apartheid or frequency receivers that would allow you to bring in your higher consciousness. Your higher consciousness is your soul, oversoul, avatar, and rishi levels. And this means you're stuck as a 3-dimensional single vector consciousness. And you just cycle through all of these incarnations for thousands of years. So this has created a mess in the chromosome structure of the DNA, and it's mutated us and every other life form on the planet. Because if you poke holes in the Earth's grids, then you're poking holes in everyone's DNA on the planet. I mean, there's even television shows about this now. When I first started in 1999 talking about this, everyone thought I was crazy. Now you have Ancient Aliens, the TV show that talks in detail about the DNA and what has happened. So this has been running through the grids, and since our grids are directly connected to the Earth's grids, it's mutated our bodies, our hormone levels. Your hormones run your physical health. So if your energy is off, that translates into physical problem like a hormonal problem. Now your hormones are off or your brain transmitters are off. And that's reduced our lifespans from, supposed to be immortal down to 900 years in the Bible times. Now, what is the lifespan? Around 78 years old, even though we have all of this technology, right? So the race we're called now is the Homo sapien 2. The Homo sapien 2 was not even intended. It's the byproduct of a forced raid on the genetic lines here. So Homo sapien 1 was a hybrid race. Angelic humans are completely different. You know, we were not created by the Anunnakis. You know, there's different competing, influencers out there trying to promote this story that we were created by these Anunnakis who came to Earth. So when you know the truth, when you have access to the plates that have all the sacred information, the original teachings, this is what we have. We have the Mahabharata text. The indigos are very different. So the only similarity to the Homo sapien 1 was that in ancient history, we had contributed DNA to them to help them to evolve. But suddenly we found ourselves mutating because they had tried to create one race solidarity. So in reality, they've created two species. And this is called transposition of race identity. So what it is, it's kind of like a genetic maneuver that's done by blocking certain codes in one. For example, if you have two species that have two different types of DNA, let's say one has 12 strands, but the other only has 4, but the first 4 are similar. If you block out all but those 4, and then you block out the things that are dissimilar in the others, you get two races that cannot even access the higher dimensional fields. And that is just one thing, just one snapshot of what has happened throughout ancient history. Now, I know this is a lot of information. If you have any questions, let's go ahead and stop here and just put your questions on the text chat, and I'll go ahead and answer those for you. I guess I explained it pretty well. So how do we fix this mess? Here's how we fix this mess. This mess that's been done to your chakra system and your DNA, so we can actually prepare you for your own personal ascension to the 5D. As well, it will provide you an easy way for you to monetize your soul's mission for those of you who are healing facilitators, so you can manifest massive material abundance during this transition. It's called the Golden Liquid 5D Activation Certification Training. So here's the purpose of this. I created this to solve the problem of not having the activation level and the conscious awareness to ascend in this lifetime and take advantage of this rare event in Earth's history. And I've also created a way to monetize your mission so you can manifest material abundance in line with your soul's purpose. Because if you're on this webinar, this is your mission to help activate humanity for this. And so you deserve to receive an energy exchange because this is probably the most important and most valuable service you can provide. So what will this do for you? It will activate your chakras, your DNA, and your frequency to your highest energetic potential so you can transition from 3D to 5D. It will also clear the highest priority energetic blockages, reverse 5-letter sequences, and allow you to connect to your higher self and be an open conduit to that. When you do this, you can know more of your mission and you can embody your higher self. And it'll allow you to completely understand and master these ascension mechanics so you can help yourself and others to ascend. So for the Golden Liquid 5D Activation Certification Training, this is how it'll work. I've spent a lot of time thinking this out so you get the most benefit, and I want to make it personal because everyone is different. Everyone has a different activation level. Everyone has different soul energies. Everyone has different chakra blockages. So what we'll do is we'll start with a one-on-one call where I'll do a reading for you and assess your current energetic state, your current DNA activation level, the current blockages that you have, and give you a detailed reading on what soul energies you have access to. I'll then do a powerful personal clearing and activation based on what I read, so you receive that energy transmission directly from me. Then, everyone that enrolls in this training will participate in a group call where I'll go over what is most likely to happen planetary-wise so you know what to do. So you'll learn the Earth's planetary Templar, the locations of all the stargates, the portals, and the important energetic highways so you'll know where you're going. You know, if you want to ascend, you need a map on where you're going. And then we'll do the Golden Liquid 5D Chakra Upgrade Activation as a group to install the proper codes so that you can walk through a stargate, so you can ascend like Jesus. It's like if you want to go through a stargate, you have to have the access code. You have to have the right frequency. So here's a huge bonus. This is a live in-person training. So this part is optional. So the optional part of this is a 2-day live ascension conference with me in person in Vegas, where we'll actually perform ascension practices. So you'll receive, you know, the live in-person energy transmission, the DNA activation, and this is extremely powerful as nothing compares to being in person and receiving the transmission directly. So this is for those of you who can come to Vegas. This bonus is optional. You don't have to do this. We can do it all remotely, but some of you, you know, like to be in person, so this is a bonus for you. So you'll come here to Vegas, we'll meet, and we'll do this together. So what is the total value of the training? First, you get the personal one-on-one ascension preparation session with me, which is normally 11:11. Then you're going to get the 2-hour group training on advanced ascension mechanics, 5D consciousness, and the DNA activation specifically for ascension to the 5D. That's also normally 11:11. And then you get the optional 2-day live in-person ascension conference. That's during the actual 3-day particle conversion period. So that's 3,500. Now, this bonus right here is going to help you to take this information as a practitioner and apply it almost immediately. And so this includes all 7 of the brand new Golden Liquid 5D activation codes that I've been working on for months. And so you have 7 codes, the value is 2528. So that's over a $17,000 value just for the codes. And you're also going to get the presentation with the codes. So you'll have that and you can quickly implement that for your clients. I'm also going to give you the transcript of the activation so you'll know exactly what to say. The whole guided meditation, all the commands, the activation commands, you know, if you had to do this by yourself, it would take you months to figure it out. So I'm going to show you what the presentation looks like. So can everyone see this? So when you sign up for the certification training, I'm going to send you this. So you'll have this presentation that you'll use for your clients when you guide them through the activation, and you'll have the transcript so you know exactly what to say. And then you'll have all the codes in here. So these are the brand new 5D activation codes. So you start at the crown chakra. This is the crown chakra activation code. Then you have the third eye. Then you have the throat chakra, the heart chakra, the solar plexus chakra, the sacral chakra 2 inches below your navel, and then finally you have the root chakra. So it's a very simple way to guide your clients through this activation to activate all of their chakras to the 5D frequency. And so the Golden Liquid 5D Activation Certification Training includes all 7 codes, includes this presentation, so you can quickly implement this for your clients. I mean, you could do this in 1 week. You know, you could study this, get the transcript, practice it, you know, offer it to your clients or your list. They sign up, and then, you know, once you get your clients going through one of these activations and you get a testimonial, I'll certify you and name you as one of the first Golden Liquid 5D activation practitioners on the planet. So this is going to be huge. So again, here's the value. The total value of the training is $57.22, and this, it's actually more than that because you get all the codes, the presentation, all that. But this is just for the sessions, and the tuition for those of you who are committed to this for only 12 people is only going to be less than half of that. It's only going to be $2,500. And so this offer is only available for 12 people, and it's only available now on this webinar. So to get this, just send me a message on Skype, and my Skype is shivananda.brahmananda. But let me show you how you can monetize this and get your tuition back very quickly. So once you get the training, you can offer this in your practice, the 5D chakra activation, for say $528. $528 is a very low price point, but you know, we want to activate as many people as possible. So the 528, this number, you know, this is the frequency of love, right? So this typically converts very well. Now, you don't want to do these sessions one-on-one. You know, doing sessions one-on-one is the path of a poor healer. The best way to do this is in a group on a webinar. You can do it for 2 people on a webinar, or you can do it for 1,000 people on a webinar. And so here's what I recommend you do. Your clients sign up for a weekly Golden Liquid 5D chakra activation. So you offer this in an email, or you could even do a webinar. They sign up and they get a welcome email with the link to the webinar. Let's say the webinar is on Wednesday at 6 p.m. So all you have to do is show up to that webinar with the presentation I showed you on the screen. You show them the codes and you guide them through the activation. It takes about an hour and you're done. So you're working 1 hour per week. Now imagine that just 10 people sign up per week. So that's 10 times 528 is $5,280 in 1 week. Doing activations, working in line with your soul's mission, and having a very simple step-by-step process that you go through. If you multiply this by 4 weeks, you're making at least $21,120 per month. That's with just, 10 clients per week. If you multiply that by the year, that's over $253,000 per year. Working 1 hour per week, your delivery time is 1 hour per week. So many of you are probably working in wage slave jobs where you're working over 40 hours a week and you're not making this kind of money, right? How many of you are working where you're not making this kind of money? Yeah, so the tuition investment for you is only $2,500 for the training, where if you apply this, you can manifest at least $5,280 in 1 week. And trust me, you can do a lot more than this. I have clients that made $1.6 million or euros last year just doing these sessions. And so that's the deal. This is how you can work in line with your soul's mission, upgrade to 5D, and also help others to do this. There's no other training on the planet like this. So if you resonate with this and you would like to get one of the 12 spots, send me a message on Skype at shivananda.brahmananda, and I'll send you the link to sign up. And if you don't have Skype or you can't use it, you can just send me an email at tobyalexander1111@mail.com, and I'll send you the link there. But again, this is only for 12 people, and this offer of over half off is only available on this webinar if you're watching now. Are there any other questions? How did indigos get to be different? Well, indigos are completely different beings. That's like asking, how do 12-cylinder Bugattis, how are they different from 4-cylinder Camrys? They just are. So the indigos are here to raise the frequency of the planet. It's like when the founders races look at Earth and they see all the stuff, all the things happening and Earth devolving, they think, oh, we need to send in the big guns. We need help, massive help. And so they sent in the 144,000 indigos. And so if you're here, that's one of your missions, is to help raise the frequency. And so this is exactly how we do that. Any other questions? Oh, absolutely. If you come to Vegas, I am very well known in Vegas, so I can get us any reservation without a reservation. So we will have some epic dinners. People who have no energy work done, can we use this program? Absolutely. That's why I created it like this, so simple. You have all the tools, you have the presentation, you have the codes, you have the commands, so you don't have to think about this. This is something that I've developed over the last 20 years. And I need more help. I need a lot of you to step up and help me with this, because I can't be doing 24-hour webinars, you know. As soon as you sign up, we'll talk about the dates that work for you and me for the Vegas training. So I'll make sure that it works for everyone, and then we'll coordinate that. But that'll be a lot of fun. Any other questions? So this will be the most powerful training you've ever done with me. I think you can sense the urgency of this. Most of you are aware of the 5D, and you know that you need to upgrade yourself to this. There's a lot of sleeping masses out there, and also NPCs, non-playing characters that can distract you on your mission. So if you stay focused on this and you upgrade your consciousness, you're going to be able to stay out of all this earth drama that's about to happen. The wars, the collapse of the financial system, the global economy. You're going to be above this. Your consciousness will be above this, and therefore you won't attract that into your life. Will Vegas be before July? Yes, most likely in April, my birthday. March energy is going to be very different from February. How many of you noticed in February, not too many things were manifesting? That's because February is a feminine month. I sent an email about that. February is a healing month. This is the time to do this healing, to do this upgrade. In March, it's going to be like a new beginning. So you get the upgrade now, you have the energetic circuitry to take advantage of this. And March is going to be like starting something new. It's a great time to start something new. But you got to have the upgrade. It's like if you're operating on a PC with a certain operating system from, say, 2006, and everyone else is on a Mac on the latest operating system, and you're dealing with viruses and malware and, a slow internet, you're not going to be able to keep up. So just like a computer, we have our own energetic circulatory system. So we have to have that open and operating on all cylinders so we can do what we came here to do. What if you have no experience doing webinars? Well, doing a webinar is just like operating your phone. All you have to do is, install the software and, fire it up and have a link to your participants to come join, and you just talk. That's all you need to do. So it just, requires getting familiar and then practicing a little bit, and then all you're doing is showing your screen and talking to the people. You don't even have to do a webinar to do the activation. You know, I could do the activation for you without any internet connection, any webinar. I used to do that, but people like to feel like they're connected to you by technology. But in reality, you don't need the technology. You can just operate by intent. Any other questions? So I really hope that you do this upgrade and you know you're not stuck in the 3D. You get out of the drama going on here, and we can not only activate ourselves, but also activate the ones that are ready to step up and get out of this slave planet that we're on. So what's the question, Ruth? Yeah, I could do the activation without a webinar. I used to do that. When I first started, the first 10 years, I would just tell people to lay down at a certain point, do some pre-session instructions. I would connect to their higher self and do the activation. But people like to see the codes. They like to do the optical pineal induction. They like to feel the session as it's happening. And so a webinar is the best way to do that. But again, it's not required. You know, the webinar is not facilitating the activation. Any other questions? All right, so send me a message at shivananda.brahmananda on Skype. I'm connected to most of you already, so make sure you do that after this session just to tell me if you're in or out. And if you don't have Skype, you can email me at tobyalexander1111@mail.com. I really appreciate all of you being here and following your intuition to be here. There's a reason that you're here. And so hopefully you'll connect to your higher self. You'll receive a strong yes for this. And then once you have these tools, every day when you're doing these activations for others, what are you doing? Well, you're activating yourself more. Every time you work with these codes or you look at the codes, you're raising your frequency. And so this helps you as well as it helps your clients. You know, I have codes around me constantly. So I'm constantly working on myself. And you'll just notice how your frequency rises and then good things start happening in your life because you attract a higher frequency grid of people, places, times, things, and events, and also opportunities. So this is a way to activate your frequency and also to monetize your soul's mission. Make sense, everyone? All right, so thank you all so much for being here. I look forward to continued progress and training and clarity with this training. Much love to you all, and namaste.